Guys, Mike and I, we're going to dive all into meditation. This is going to be a really, really good topic. If you guys know about my story, I got started with meditation back when I was 22 years old, when I was dealing with a lot of depression. And I went to my first ever yoga class. And that's when I was first introduced to meditation. And it's been a game changer ever since. Plus, I'm somebody that struggles with ADHD. So if you think about it, if you're somebody that's like, oh man, I have a hard time sitting down, hard time focusing, without my mind wandering. Guys, it's a struggle for myself, right? And it's a constant practice. Just like building muscle and working out, right? It requires consistency for somebody to get better over time. It's the same thing with any of the mindset techniques, especially meditation. I would say meditation is probably like the hardest thing to actually get down. And the monks out there are the experts, right? And I don't think anybody's trying to get on that level, right? We're just trying to do it to help us once again with relieving some of the stress because that's huge on our fat loss journey. Mike, you know a lot about meditation even before Heartletics because of, the martial arts experience and everything. You want to kind of open up about meditation, how you first got involved and how it's been helping you?
Sure. I started getting into meditation when I started practicing Taekwondo back in 2015. At that point, it was really kind of like what you think about when a martial artist says, they meditate, just sitting there cross-legged on the floor, and just breathing and focusing on your breath till your mind just starts to, forget about the external and start thinking internally. And at that point for me, it's just your mind still makes a lot of noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but again, when you feel at least for me, when I feel, I start focusing back on the external noise, it's I focus back on the breath. Just focusing on the count of breath in, holding breath out. Kind of like box breathing to get you relaxed until your mind can start to focus on what you want to focus on. And, outside of the breathing, what I want to focus on in the moment is what I'm trying to replay over and over in my mind to once I get into the meditative state, that's what I'm focused on.
Yeah. Yeah. And Friday we'll do a huge deep dive also on the breath work, and how it kind of, correlates with one another. Guys, quick show of hands though. Who here has ever heard of meditation? Okay. All right. This is gonna be funny, right? So everybody's hands up. Everybody's heard of meditation. Who here has tried meditation? Okay. Bunch of hands still up. Who here has a hard time with meditation? A lot of hands still up,
Still
right? So,
today.
and the reason why I wanted to ask that, Mike, is because, you probably still struggle with it, right? Like
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, it's nothing, guys, where you're instantly going to get it down. And then all of a sudden you can just ignore all the stress, ignore all the, chaos and commotion that's out there and be at peace with yourself. It's very, very hard to do, but it's very beneficial. So, Mike, would you say since starting meditation to currently where you're at right now, like how has meditating been kind of helping you, especially when life just gets chaotic and stressful, whether that's at work, whether that's at home, whether that's on your own health and fitness journey?
It's a great help, especially when you can feel that the stress levels are rising and the chaos is rising. It's just a really good way to um, not only calm down, but to refocus yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Refocus, keyword, refocus. And then, guys, just so you know, before we go to ChatGPT, and there's a whole bunch of prompts I'm going to share with you guys on, what's going to be beneficial for you on your health and fitness journey. Keep in mind, there's so many different like ways to meditate. Mike mentioned about, the breathing technique and how that kind of helps him out. Guys, I recommend just getting started also with just like guided meditation. You can go to YouTube, you can find literally millions of them. You can type in like 15-minute guided meditations with a guy's voice or a girl's voice or a 5-minute meditation or a 20-minute meditation. There's those types of meditations. Gabe, we were talking about a hypnosis meditation, right? There's gratefulness meditations, mindfulness meditations, meditations about overeating, stress, visualization, manifestation, like anything and everything you can find on YouTube. Okay. So get started with that because it's a lot easier as somebody's guiding you rather than doing, let's say, a transcendental meditation where that's pretty much the binaural beats, that's pretty much just the sound, and then you're just getting quiet with your own one thoughts. Mike, would you say that's probably the easiest way for anybody to get started is doing a guided meditation?
Yeah, because like even with the qigong meditation I do through Tai Chi, to get started on it, was watching videos of people, talking you through it, talking you through the breathing, talking you through because with qigong there's two kinds. There's active and passive qigongs, where a passive one is stillness, right? Where I might not be sitting, like I might be standing in a horse stance with my arms raised. So even in a passive qigong, I'm still getting a physical workout to it. But then there's also an active qigong where it's movement. So at the same time that I'm still focused on breathing and meditation, I'm still getting active movement and improving my balance and flexibility at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And if somebody didn't want to go that route, it's almost like if somebody was going to do a walking meditation, right? You're still moving, you're still being active, you
Yeah,
know? It's kind of like Bruce Lee. What was that quote he said about be like water, be formless,
be
you know?
formless. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I always think about like a movement meditation, you know? Guys, let's do a screen share here. Um, show of hands. Can you guys see my screen okay? Thumbs up. Cool. So I just want to read you guys these different prompts just because I think it's just going to help you guys out. And then we'll go right back on the Zoom chat and kind of talk about ways that we can just get involved with meditating, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, best practices, whether it's morning, evening, what works best for you guys. But let me just read you off these prompts, see if it kind of helps you out. Okay. So I asked ChatGPT, what are the 10 benefits of meditation, right? Let's talk about that first, because obviously, if there's a benefit to it, there's an incentive for somebody to do it. And a lot of this is going to be stress related. Hence we were just talking about stress, which is once again one of the biggest factors and curveballs as to what stops somebody from being successful on their health and fitness journey is stress. Spikes your cortisol levels. And that's the first thing that's on here, right? The first benefit is reduces stress. So it says meditation helps lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which can reduce feelings of anxiety and overwhelm. Second one, right? Just like what Mike talked about, it improves your focus, right? It helps you get back in alignment with your goals and everything. So it improves focus and concentration. The third benefit is enhances emotional well-being. And when it comes to like emotional eating, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, how meditation can also help with that. The fourth benefit promotes better sleep. Obviously, if you're, not dealing with a lot of on your mind, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, a lot of doubt, you have a much easier time just getting, better sleep, which is obviously a form of recovery. It's going to help with better fat loss results. Boost self-awareness. Number five. Number six, improves physical health, right? Meditation can help lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation, even boost immunity by reducing stress-related alignments. Seven, supports mental clarity. Eight, enhances emotional resilience. And number nine, cultivates compassion and kindness. And then 10, increases creativity. So then I asked ChatGPT, I said, can you provide for me the top five proven by science ways on how meditation can help somebody on their fat loss journey? Because I think it's great, having ChatGPT and AI help out, but also let's get meditation, which some people could think it's a lot of like woo woo. Let's get it to back it up with a just a science-based claim. So the first one, once again, and this is going to be very repetitive, guys, reduces stress and cortisol levels. So it says chronic stress leads to increased cortisol levels, which you guys know about, which can trigger fat storage, especially around the belly. Studies have shown that meditation can help reduce stress, leading to lowering cortisol levels and improving fat burning potential. The second improves mindful eating. It says here meditation enhances mindfulness, making you more aware of hunger cues and eating habits. Researchers have found that mindful eaters has less likely to overeat or engage in emotional eating, right? Supporting better weight loss. The third one is once again all about better sleep quality. Fourth is to boost self-control and discipline. And then number five, right? Once again, lowering our chances of emotional eating. This is something that has been huge, right? We've been talking about this on a lot of these coaching calls recently is emotional eating. So it says here, meditation reduces emotional reactivity by helping you regulate emotions better. This makes it easier to avoid turning to food to comfort during moments of stress, sadness, or even boredom. By incorporating meditation into your daily routine, you can help address the mental and the emotional barriers to fat loss while supporting healthy habits. Love it. Okay, so what are the 10 best tips to provide to someone who has never meditated before and are looking to get into meditation, but know if it can work, but doesn't know if it could work for them if they're having a hard time sitting down without their mind thinking all over the place? This is why I asked you guys that question about like, hey, who here has heard about meditation? Who here has tried meditation? Who here has struggled with meditation? So these are going to be the 10 tips based on AI, ChatGPT. Number one, start small, right? And I think this is perfect advice. Meditating does not have to be this long haul practice. You don't need to do a crazy hour-long session or anything like that. Start small. And it could be as something as just 2 to 5 minutes a day. And remember, that could be just you closing your eyes, focusing on your breath, which is great. That you could be you putting in maybe some binaural beats, or maybe even just going on YouTube and typing in a guided meditation for 5 minutes, anything like that, just to kind of help you just quiet your emotions down, get back in alignment with your goals, and most importantly, lower some stress. The second one is focus on your breath, just like what Mike talked about. And that's probably the easiest thing to do. And when me and Mike do a deep dive into Friday's conversation, talking all about breath work, it's going to sound very similar to this, right? The breath work, the meditation, it's all about getting into your present moment. And that's the biggest thing that I learned about meditation. It's not worrying so much about the past, not worrying so much about the future. It's just getting back in alignment with your present self, and your breath is the best way to do it. It's just focusing on that breath work. The third tip is what I kind of mentioned, use guided meditations. There are different apps out there, Headspace, Calm, those are great. YouTube is, like, in my opinion, the easiest one to just go on, type in anything, and boom, it's going to spit you out any kind of meditation that you want. And experiment. Find one that works for you. Try for a little bit, and if it starts to get old, or you're just having a hard time with it, like, switch it up. Find something else. There's, once again, plenty of different options here. The fourth tip is create a comfortable space. I know personally for me, like, I have to come down to my office. And when I meditate, it's typically first in the morning. That way, nobody's up. I can just relax. There's no commotion, there's no distractions, anything like that. And I can just put in my headphones in my computer, sit here, be in a comfortable space, and just have a much easier time of just getting more relaxed. That way, I'm in just that mood when it comes to meditating. Number five, don't fight your thoughts. And this is probably the number one reason why most guys struggle, where they stop meditating or they give up too soon, is they get so discouraged saying like, man, I'm having the hardest time struggling with meditating because every time I want to meditate, I think this thought or this randomly comes in my head and it feels like it takes me out of my present moment. Guys, first off, you need to have some grace. Nobody's perfect at meditating, especially after a few short weeks or even a few short months. You heard Mike talk about how it's been a journey for him and he's still practicing it. Um, it's just like riding a bike, guys. Like, at the end of the day, you're gonna fall down and that's okay. It's all about just getting right back on. It's just like working out. Some days you have your good days, some days you have your bad days, but you just continue on. So don't fight your thoughts when meditating. Just observe them. Hey, it is what it is. And then, try to just get right back to your breath work. That's what I found typically the most is when my mind starts to wander, I just focus right back on my breath, getting right back to homeostasis, getting right back to balance, getting right back to that present moment. Um, Number six, try active meditation. And this is what Mike talked about when it comes to his martial art that he likes to do when it comes to meditating. You can also do it with yoga. That's how I was kind of introduced to meditation. There's also walking meditations. And once again, guys, the beauty of having the internet in 2025, you can find all this online for free, right? YouTube, Spotify, all those meditations are in there. Just type it in. Number seven, practice consistency over perfection. This is like a stable that we go over here at Heartletics when it comes to one of our, mantras or, mottos. So it says meditate daily. Even if it's only just a couple minutes, building the habit is more important than doing it perfectly. And I think that's true with just about anything that we do. It's like building these better habits for ourselves, not trying to be a perfectionist, but just constantly doing it and then making sure that we're obviously focusing on progressing in some way or form or shape, just get better at it. Number eight, use a mantra or visualization. And this is why I like comparing or um, combining meditation and visualization. Just because if you think about it, right, we talked about meditating and visualizing when it comes to creating your dream body, whether that's you guys trying to get six pack abs or lower your body fat percentage. If you can imagine how that looks, right, and maybe get some of the senses involved, right, whether it's a feel or a look or a touch or even a scent, anything like that, if you can get that down with also meditation, it's works wonders. Just because if you think about it, there's all these different brain waves that we have. And when we start getting to that drowsy, when we start getting to that tired state of more of a theta brainwave, we start getting a little bit more into our subconscious thinking. And if we can start implanting some images right to our subconscious mind of how we want to look, how we want to feel, maybe that's us, having a big smile on our face, taking off our shirt on a beach, maybe that's fitting into one of your old favorite clothes that you keep tucked away in the back of the closet, something like that. When you can get all those senses involved, you're just getting it primed into your RAS, right? Where your reticular activating system as, hey, this is what we want. This is what we're after. This is a goal of ours. So it's a great combination to say the least. Number nine, focus on the benefits. So remind yourself why you're meditating to reduce stress, to improve focus, to feel more calm. Having a purpose, keeps you more motivated. It's kind of like having that deep rooted why. It's going to help you stay more disciplined. And then lastly, number 10 is be patient and kind to yourself. And this is 100% true. Meditation is a skill that takes practice. It's okay if your mind wanders. Every time you just refocus, strengthen your mindfulness muscles, and that's it, guys. I want to hear from you. Where do you find your biggest struggles coming from meditation? Jason, I want to hear from you being a coach because you recently started meditating and visualizing, right?
Yes, sir. Sure have.
Okay. Walk us through that. How has that been going for you? And I guess before you recently started doing it, um,
Hmm.
like have you tried it before in the past and then kind of like gave up with it? Has it been just something that you recently started? Like, how did you first get involved with meditation?
It's probably been off and on for last year plus. I'll get going good and then just fall out and not do it and hit and miss. So this
Let's
year I've
talk.
definitely tried.
Let's talk about
Go
that though,
ahead.
Jason. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like everybody kind of says the same thing, right? Like, hey, I tried it, hit and miss, having a hard time like sticking with it, And I could see that because if somebody doesn't, receive any benefits from it, or they don't find it helpful, or they get discouraged because they're not having the best practice with it, they're not getting it down. I can see how they throw in the towel, they quit. So, what kind of has helped you get back on board with it?
Just number one, us talking about it a lot around here in the community groups and the benefits of it, and just trying something new for 2025, right? So we talked about that with the manifesto and where we're going to build on that. And visualization was one of those goals of 2025 to take myself to the next level. So now I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm still struggling with it because it's trying to find that quiet time is the hard part, right? Because that's why I fell off prior, just not finding quiet time because there's always something going on. So I'm trying to incorporate that a little bit more when I'm at work, trying to find a little bit more time that it's a little bit quieter, but some days just get away from me and I still don't do it. But I'm doing a lot better than I was in the past. Let's just put it that way.
And you like to do it also like after the gym, right? Or before the gym?
After,
Okay.
so I've
I,
done it. I've done it in the car before. It all depends on time. At morning times it's all about time. Is try to get to the gym, get all my work done because as soon as I get home, I got the boys going and I got to get and it's all about them. So if I have time, I do it. But most of the times I'm running out of time, so I try to find time during the work. And then that's the other problem is work gets in the way, and sometimes I, by the time I think about it, it's too late in the day.
Yeah.
So that's where my struggle is trying to, narrow it down and make sure I do it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You mind if I coach you real quick?
Bring it.
What makes something too late in the day?
Oh, when I say too late in the day, it's already bedtime. I'm going to bed, and as we're sitting here thinking about this, I literally just a few minutes ago you were talking when you were going through the chat GPT stuff. I was like, why am I doing this as I'm falling asleep? Because it's
Yeah,
quiet, as long as my kids are actually asleep and they're not screaming and yelling. But I'm like, that makes sense. I should do it while I'm falling asleep because it's quiet and I'm already quieting myself down too, right?
100%, man. Like I was just gonna
So,
say, there's never a best time or a wrong time. It's a simple practice of just doing it. Jeff
mm-hmm.
Karan mentioned in the chat that he does the sleep meditations every single night. There's a lot of different sleep meditations out there, and you don't even need to do a full extent of like a sleep, quote unquote meditation. But for you, Jason, if it's 5 minutes visualization, I mean, if you think about it, all you have to do is fall asleep as, hey, who is that person I'm trying to become? Visualizing your success, visualizing you already achieving your goals. It's the same thing.
Yep, and that just literally clicked as you were talking just a few minutes ago. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't need a long time, guys. It does not have to be something like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or anything like that. Now, Jason, have you noticed a difference since meditating, or maybe like on the days when you do meditate compared to the days when you don't meditate? Like, is there a difference?
I think overall in the last, what are we, 3 weeks into the year, for almost four, give or take, I think there has been, along with some other stuff I'm doing, there's a lot of positive benefits. Just mentally, I'm a little more clear. I'm focused on the path I want to go, and I can see it. I can see into the future and see where I'm going to be. So I think that's the biggest difference this year compared to the last couple.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Mike, anything else you want to add in here?
All good stuff, and even was off camera, I was still listening as I was chatting with the plumber. But all good stuff. We're talking like you only need 5 minutes, even like when it's bedtime, right? There's one that I do, especially if I'm, not tired or just, the mind's racing. One I use, even just sitting there laying in bed, is, the breath work, which again we'll talk about on Friday. But while doing the breath, flex your different muscle groups
Mm,
for like 10, 15 seconds a piece and just move up the body, start at your feet and move to the top of your, to the head. And just doing that with breath, calm you down, reduce stress, going to sleep.
yeah. I actually notice a lot of guided meditations are like that. They'll have you start off like focusing on your head and then your face and then your neck and then your shoulders. And it's just like you focus on these muscle groups and just focusing on the breath of breathing in and then like releasing the tension. And then you notice yourself just start to get way more drowsy, way more mellow. So that's huge. Um, Jeff Koons, I want to unmute you because you dabbled in with meditation a little bit here and there, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
How was your experience with it? Was it beneficial? Was it not? Was it a hard getting into it?
I think it's very beneficial. My problem was sticking with it just because, like Jason, time was just been last year much been crazy. So trying to get back into that routine as well, along with everything else right now. But yeah, it definitely helped me when I was doing it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And guys, if that's your struggle, right, is like a time or like committing to it, like a daily practice or a morning routine or anything like that. Remember, it's kind of like walking or drinking water. It's like, hey, if you can get all your steps in before noon, that's great, right? Or drink a bunch of water before noon, that's great too. But if you happen to get your steps in throughout the course of the day or drink water throughout the course of the day, that's all that matters. Just like hitting your protein, as long as you're hitting it, that's all that matters. So with meditation, especially if you're somebody that's struggling with time management, guys, 5 minutes right before you go to sleep is clutch. It's prime. And I would say pair that with the manifesto. Jason, you mentioned about how this is a year of a big shift for you. Step outside your comfort zone, trying a whole bunch of different practices, right? And so that manifesto is huge for you. if you read that and then just meditate, like think about it. You already got in your head your RAS, I like to say that crystal clear version of where it is that you're trying to get to. Now it's just like, hey, how do we use meditation and breath work to just get nice and calm, nice and relaxed, visualize for a little bit, fall asleep, you know? And then Bill, you kind of mentioned this about how you fall asleep is typically like how you wake up, you know? So it's like, hey, if you can fall asleep being in a good mood, wake up being in a good mood, you know, that could help out anybody, especially once again, the reason why I want to talk about meditation a lot, guys, was because stress. Stress is the number one killer for most guys. So if we can do something as like maybe a nighttime routine, that's going to help us release that stress and then wake up in a, you know, better, mellow place. It's just going to help us out. Who here has any questions about meditation? Anybody? Cool. Jeff G, you tried meditating, right? Or is that on your to-do list as something that you want to start dabbling into?
No, I've done it. The Let It Go is the one that I've used. It kind of focuses on, you know, accepting that thoughts can pop into your head, but not having an emotional reaction based on them. So I still do that late afternoon on bowling days just to kind of keep me in a chill mindset before I start knocking some pins down.
Yeah. Has you found that to been kind of helpful? And I guess when did you get started with meditating? Like when did you first start it? Was it here at home
Um,
beforehand?
yeah, no, that was here. Yeah, it was probably a little bit past once I got comfortable with, my morning gratitude and built that habit and started getting into like my affirmations and self-reflection. It was right about that time that I started dabbling. So probably a couple months now, I would think,
Okay.
if not longer. Yeah.
And have you noticed a difference, like in terms of like mental clarity or less stress overall, not just with bowling, but just overall since
Oh,
starting to do it
absolutely.
now?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when I first started doing it, I was doing it to start my day, to when I had a lot of work stuff going on, to kind of keep me in a positive headspace to start the day. So yeah, definitely valuable. I know there's a lot, like you've mentioned, out on YouTube. I mean, different whatever you're looking for, sleep, focus. That I've just locked onto that one. I keep going through that one. It's probably trying to mix it up a little bit, but that always centers me. And when you do it right, you just feel yourself drift, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not even aware that where I am, and the last part of it is kind of bringing yourself back to the room, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. And you brought up two good points. The first one was you said, hey, maybe it's time for me to dabble into something else. I would say no. Like if you
Okay,
find one that like clicked with you and it resonates with you, then hey, winner, winner, chicken dinner, right? It's
nice.
that helps you, you know. But the second is like you mentioned about kind of drifting off. There's been several times, and guys, don't get discouraged if you're meditating, you fall asleep. Has anybody ever meditated and they fell asleep before? Just like passed right out? Yeah. Don't get discouraged if
Close,
that happens.
close. Yeah, you get really really close, really really relaxed.
Yeah, but also like if you think about it, you're being guided too on most of these
Hmm.
meditations. So it's like even though you're asleep, you're still getting words, getting your subconscious mind.
Hmm.
And typically, if you're pairing that with maybe some affirmations that's mixed into those guided meditations, that's beneficial for you. You know, where you wake up, they're like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, they snap their finger or whatever. You kind of wake up in like land, whatever, but you just feel kind of like really relaxed. Would you
Hmm.
say so, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely.